Three matches gone by, the transfer window is officially closed, and that means teams are set for the foreseeable future until January at least. And I think with these past three games, I think we have enough to kind of like defer, certain trends or interesting things that we see as fans. And so come up with five questions that I believe will define the Premier League season. And this goes from like who is the title to who's going to be the coach of the year to who's going to be the breakout season to who gets relegated. And with that being said, welcome to the Cloud Collective, and let's get right into it with question one, which is who's going to match Liverpool? Honestly, I think that's the question on everyone's, especially the top six slips. Who's going to match Liverpool? Liverpool are already moving in like they already have this like championship swagger about them in terms of they're not playing well, but they're winning games. They're winning games grimy. They're winning games, with these special moments. Szoboszlai with that free kick, Rio at the last minute. All of these moments are like these are championship moments. Liverpool are coming off like one of the best transfer windows ever, and their depth is actually gotten really good with Isak coming in. Even though I feel like they're still a bit light, obviously in midfield, but man, this team is rolling, man. And I feel like people like Wirtz, Salah, Konate, Kirkes, Virgil van Dijk, all of them, I feel like they're still coming into the season. Like, then I don't feel like they've even like touched the surface of their potential, what they've shown that they can do. Alright, now let's talk about like the challenges. And for me, obviously the two challenges or coming into the season was Arsenal and Man City. Both of them have had varying like performances. Man City have been terrible. Arsenal have been more pragmatic and a bit surprisingly more pragmatic coming into the season than I thought that I was realizing, because in both of their matches, both against Arsenal, Man United and Liverpool, obviously Leeds they beat at least 5-1, which is a good result. But they were extremely pragmatic in a way that with the depth that they have and the quality of players that Arteta has at his what's the word at his exposure. I'm surprised that they came into the season with this type of mentality. And when I was thinking about this, Arteta seems to have he's going in the opposite direction to someone like Klopp. While in the past, Klopp, when he was in the position of having to chase Man City, he was more gun ho. He was more like, bro, if we're losing, we're gonna lose. And that happened. They got into a lot of like duels, shootouts. Bro, Arteta's not going for that at all. He's prepared to get a draw or a sneaky 1-0 win. And then on the other side, Man City. Man City have been, what are they coming into this with? Is it 3 points? They've only won one game. They lost against Tottenham and Bournemouth, and not Bournemouth and Brighton. And in both games, their performances have been good, but they've just literally been good. They've been average, actually, I would say. There's been nothing special about it, which is very weird too when you're speaking about a pep team. Pep teams are very dynamic. They're very disciplined, and it's been the total opposite. I'm thinking about James Trafford losing the ball. What's his name? Mateus Nunes handball. These are very undisciplined actions. It was very careless handball. It's a very undisciplined, and these are uncharacteristic of a Pep team. And I think that I can't remember who said it, but someone said that the quality of this team, the quality of the Premier League has grown so much that it's good. Man City are not going to be able to steamroll other teams or teams lower than them as easily as they did. Coaches are better. Herzler is cold. Bournemouth, Areola, Thomas Frank. These are managers who will if you give them time to game plan, they're not going to come at you and just like lay down. They're going to come at you, and so it's been very, very interesting. It's very this is a turning point for Pep and Man City as well, because I think it's either coming to the end or it's going to be resulting in evolution. So man, it's still early obviously, so I'm going to assume that Man City is going to improve, but it's not looking good right now. Definitely not. Second question that will define the Premier League for me is who's going to reach coach of the year. And for me in this category, I have 4 teams. How many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 teams. and I have Crystal Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth, and Everton in this category. And the reason why I chose these four teams is because their managers are performing and extracting as much quality out of their squads, out of their respective squads. I'm looking at Brighton and Hutzler doing extremely well, and still and still as a young manager doing extremely well, beating teams like City. He can take Brighton, I believe, to any team, and because of him, they have a shot. And then next team is Bournemouth. Iriola has literally the stability that is given to Bournemouth, a team which used to be struggling for relegation, for it to be legitimately, it's a top half team every year for at least the past 2 or 3 years. Ever since he's come in, making them a formidable side against anyone. You go to Bournemouth, you know you're in for a fight. So I think Iriola and Hutzela, they are definitely, these are two, their presence as coaches have honestly just taken their teams to the next level. And then you have someone like David Moyes, whom David Moyes is like, he's definitely, what is it called? I don't know what the Barclays men version of coaches is, but David Moyes is someone who's been in the game for so long and still able to produce at a high level. I think what I love about him is that he knows what he wants, which is obviously comes with experience, but he knows what he wants. And having Jack Grealish, who has been on fire, bro. Having Jack Grealish, people like Dewsbury Hall, and then Doyers on the other side. Oh man, the midfield is the team is just. I was watching them and they have this like synergy already. That is like they already know what each other's doing. They already have these quick flicks and all of that. It's phenomenal to see. The next last coach is Oliver Glasner. Crystal Palace losing Eze. Literally, they still came out and they are still moving. They're still rolling, bro. They're still rolling, and I think that's a big part because of Oliver Glasner. And I think a mark of a coach is what do you happen when a team when you lose your best player, and for him to be able to still honestly present Crystal Palace as a force in the league. Obviously, it's been one game, but for him to come through and still create space for people like creating space for people like to come in and Mateta and people like that. Ismail Sarr. Honestly, as his form and his class will not be replaced, but having a coach like who can come up with solutions, man. Oliver Glasner, shout out for the FA Cup as well, coming off an FA Cup win. Europe, I don't know if they qualified or not, but obviously Conference League being demoted, but man, in the conference, that's an opportunity for them to win a trophy again. Man, it's honestly incredible. Oliver Glasner, all of these floor coaches as well, I believe they're going to be in conversations whenever a top six or a big team around the top five manager opening comes up, because these four coaches are proving that you give them a good team, they're able to perform and they're able to show up against any side. Honestly, the next question is this a false alarm? Is this a false alarm? And these are in relation to two teams, Newcastle and West Ham. West Ham, I'm gonna start with West Ham because West Ham started off very, very badly. Very, very badly. Bro, Graham Potter was looking sus for a bit. In those first two games, man, it was looking rough. And I think one of the things which, I don't know why he did, but he started off with a back three. That back three, I think, and Todibo, Agad, and Max Kilman, man, it was rough. That back three hindered them so much, and the midfield looked so slow. But I feel like they've discovered something. Obviously, going back to a back four was really good. Moving to bringing in people like Mateus Fernandes, and is it Fernandes? Yeah, I think it's Mateus. It's Fernandes or Nunes. I'm sorry, I forgot, but I think it's Fernandes. Mateus Fernandes and Somerville, bro, they needed that. They genuinely needed that pace. They needed that energy. So man, they really needed that winner against Nottingham Forest, and just seeing the performance that they gave, man. Hopefully they can build on this. Hopefully it's not a false alarm, and hopefully they build on this, because hey, it was looking rough for a bit. And then next team is Newcastle. Newcastle are winless, if I'm not mistaken. Are they? Yeah, they have 2 draws and 1 loss. And obviously the Isak drama was literally what was going on the whole off season. So was it off season transfer window? So now that that's been sorted out, and honestly, bringing in Wissa and Walter Mad, they should they should have enough firepower at this point. They have those 2 strikers. They have Elanga, what's his name, Harvey Barnes, and what's his name with the G? Forgot his name, Anthony Gordon. And then you have the 3 best, honestly, a midfield 3, which you can put up against any team in the league. They can go toe to toe with anyone in the league. Defense is solid. Eddie Howe's a good coach, incredible coach. There's no excuses. So is this a false alarm? For me, it's like, is it just a purely a goal scoring issue, or is there more? So man, hopefully after the international break they can come through. Easy game against Wolves. They have to they have to get the first win. Next question we have is it a race? Is it a race to 40 points or 50 points? And in this question, I have the relegation, not relegation, the promoted sides: Burnley, Sunderland, and Leeds. And the reason why I asked the question is because all 3 teams have started off extremely well. Sunderland have been the preparation that they did in terms of bringing in so many different players. I think they had the most transfers out of any team. Granit Xhaka has been immense. Honestly, that assist, incredible. Bringing in so many different players and quality players from the different leagues, Diawara and all of them, they look good. Quite frankly, they just look good, and they look really solid in the midfield and in attack. And the fact that they're scoring goals is actually very good. I think that's one of the hardest things, is being solid in defense while being able to also give you that output. And then you have someone like Leeds. Leeds have been good, but I'm not sure if they have the, you know what, they've done a good job in just keeping games close. I think they have 2 draws so far. They've done a good job in just keeping things fair. And I think one of the things that you hope is that these points that they get, just getting getting a 0-0 draw, not losing. Honestly, the name of the game is just don't lose. I think at this point, don't lose. That's and then at the end of the year, you're hoping that at the end of the season, you're hoping that these points are going to just like save you and get you to that 40-point mark. But if the new signings can just come in and give a bit more punch to the attack, just to, because Nonto and Daniel James, Daniel James, they're good. They're good players, but if they can just get more output from there, I think they could be really good. And then Burnley. I'm not watching any Burnley. I don't even I've not watched any game of Burnley this season, honestly. But what I have seen is that their effort, and the fact that they've secured 2 draws and a win. No, they've lost 1 game, and then I think they've scored 1. They've won a game and drew 1, and I think that Burnley, the one thing that I've seen from highlights and everything, is that they are giving effort, and I think that's all you can ask for. Is that don't secure a lot of goals, don't lose a lot, don't lose by a lot, and be solid. And I think one of the coolest things is that they're just giving effort. So yeah, Burnley, the fact that they're not last is a win. The fact that they're not last, that Burnley are not last. That's all that matters. Can we push the red button yet? And here I have Aston Villa and Wolves, and Fulham as well, but kind of. Wolves, man, Wolves seem to be like, they feel like they're in quicksand, honestly. Wolves just feel like they're in quicksand, where ever since Nuno's left, and you know the memorable names left, you know, Jota, RP Jota, the midfield, who else? That squad, that just, you remember that squad, that whole squad was incredible. Ever since all of them have left and they've just been going through managers and players, it just feels like they've lost their direction. They've lost their, sense of self. Even at the end of the day, like, they have good players though, but man, it just feels like. And you know the thing is as well, Wolves are not playing badly. which is, it's so weird because they're last and you think they're gonna get relegated, but they're not bad. Like they're generally not bad, but they just have a lot of moments and they're always beaten by quality moments by the other team. And if you look at all of their games, it's always like they always score. Like Wolves don't have a problem with scoring. They just bad. They're just terrible at conceding. And Premier League, if you're gonna concede, you're gonna lose. Aston Villa as well is another team which is like they're not playing badly. I've watched Aston Villa. I think I've watched 2 games, and they're not playing badly. It's just that they can't score. Like they can't get out of their own way, and they've in the last game Unai Emery tried to like change up the system. They tried to bring in Madsen and Marlon, and it's just it's everything just seems very labored and everything. It's just hard. Everything just seems harder than it was last year. And I think hopefully Jadon Sancho and Harvey Elliott can bring some more like just more spark. Obviously, try to get that spark in a bottle for players who you are their quality. So hopefully they can just come in and hit the ground running. Yeah. So that's that for me. Yeah, so that's those are the 5 questions that I believe will define the Premier League season and what's going to happen. And especially, I didn't speak about every team, but these are the teams which I feel like are the most interesting so far. So yeah,